All right, we're going, Zane.
We're live.
We're back. Yeah, you are back. So we just had some sweet training. I would say that was sweet training.
100%.
Yeah, I appreciate you making the drive.
Yes, well, no problem.
Yeah, man, I do. I'm to the point where I just love training with all the people across the state. I want to make it much more of a normal routine. I was mentioning I trained with Rolly the other day, and have trained with him, or several months back, and we trained together. And I think that's really the future, man. I know that's kind of it's taboo with some people, but I could see not wanting to train with the people like right next door to you as much.
Yeah.
But honestly, too, in bigger markets, like there's so many gyms in like Dallas and Austin and places like that, Southern California, that the population's high enough. I mean, here in the Arkansas River Valley, a little different.
Yeah.
But I love, we were talking about Rodney earlier, looking forward to getting with him soon, but I love getting to see what people like yourself are doing.
Yeah.
And just, trade ideas, and man, because it inspires me. I come back here and I work on that stuff with my students, or with myself, or one of my students, or in class. And I would say I didn't really do that with people in the state as much when I was coming up, just like my own little affiliated group.
Crew, yeah.
But I would always run into like Rodney, or just different guys that like weren't really under Dring, my head coach, and Mark Barber from 501. Man, it's just awesome seeing different flavors,
Yeah. Everything's so dynamic, There's so many ways to do the same thing that can be equally effective. And what I'm finding out, particularly as I get older, I know I sound like a broken record because I talk about this all the time, but as I get older, like, I don't have the athletic dynamism, right, that I used to have. So it's important to find a different way to do the same stuff,
Both times you've told me how old you are, because I asked you, like, right when you got here earlier, I was like, whoa, wow. Because really, I mean, in a lot of martial arts guys in your type of position, I know, they do look younger than they are, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then some people trash their bodies and, like, are injured, and it goes the other way for them. But, man, martial arts will keep you dynamically younger, I guess you could say. Like, you do not
do it right.
Yeah. I feel, honestly, like, I'm 35, but most people do not tell me, when I tell them I'm 35, I start bitching about it like a little girl.
No.
And they're like, bro, you don't look 35.
No, not at all.
But then, like, I just had a kind of a beard about your length, and I shaved it, and it took, like, 7 years off. So, it's just like, but people would be like, oh, man, you look so young. I'm like, thanks.
Right?
Or go back out, shave it again, so you can tell me that.
I'm tempted every once in a while. Everybody tells me I would never do it, right? But I'm tempted every once in a while to dye my beard just to see what would happen.
Did you hear about Eddie Bravo talking about that?
I was listening to it on the way here, and he was talking about dyeing his goatee.
Oh, that's so... Yeah, I told the class last night we're about to start training. I was like, if I had $10 for every time I've heard Eddie Bravo say New World Order, I was like, I'd be a semi-rich man. Because on that podcast, he said it a whole bunch.
I didn't get that far into it. I'm bouncing around. I'm trying to find like just the right. I don't have time to listen to all of them, right? So
yeah,
I
scroll
the ones
down.
that I'm interested in.
Lex Friedman's always good.
Yeah, Lex Friedman. I'll never miss Mike Baker.
He's
never
good.
Miss one of
He's
those.
on often.
Gordon Ryan, of course.
That was a good one. BJ Penn, somewhat recently, I felt was pretty good. I'm listening to finishing up one with Michael Bisping from a while back. Mikey Musumeci, younger nerd assassin grappler, like, dude, I'm talking like he's 25 or 26, but he's like, like this little glasses Mikey.
Yeah. I started listening to that. My attention spans are ruined too, man. I can't read a book. I can't watch a movie. I can't, unless a lot of the podcasts, I can't finish them. I just I get tired of the person's voice or something.
Yeah, chorus that, like, we're on our way back from a concert a couple weeks ago from Tulsa, it's like 2.5 hour drive, but we were listening to Zuckerberg,
Mm-hmm.
and she like I was into it, but man, I'm like an auditory guy. That's probably why I wanted like, hey, let's get together and train, because like I'm like hearing you talk about stuff, and then we're doing it, and that's how I really learn.
Right.
You know, but I like podcasts and audiobooks. I've got like, I don't know, 300 books in there.
A lot of books.
Yeah, that's a whole new bookcase over there that wasn't over here when you were here last. Like, and it's full. One of my mentors just left teaching. I just left teaching, but he was like, I had him when I was there, and he was like, hey, I need you to go clean out my office, and a lot of the books, like 3 shelves worth on that case over there. A lot of these here. I was running out of place to put them, but right behind you, I just had a new shelf made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put my Harry Potter castle on top of it. Legos. Yeah. So, but, yeah, anyway. Books. I've got a whole bunch of them. I just, like, he donated, like, 200 books from his office or something, like, a bunch. And I got them all integrated into here, but I don't like it's the history books. It's different. I read portions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to a specific book, like as it comes up. Like what I'm going to do now that I'm not teaching history is podcast everything that was a lecture that I just basically podcast with my students.
Yeah.
But like almost everything I recorded was like a lot of it was on campus. I did some of it in the studio from like this vantage, but I'm just going to redo that, dude, with Egypt and the Enlightenment. Like, every course I really had, and from cleaning out this guy's office, like, I had him for 5 classes.
Yeah.
So, like, all the classes I had him for, like, I have the files with the tests and the syllabus and the notes and the book reviews and the everything.
Yeah.
Bibliography. And he's just not teaching anymore. So, he's like, yeah, just do whatever with it.
Dang.
Gave me that Alvarez guitar over there too, right next to that bookshelf. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. My buddy Josh went to I can't remember, Guitar Center, whatever it was, right? And he's just decided, like, I'm gonna pick up an acoustic guitar. I'm just gonna play everything in the place, and I don't care what it costs. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna buy the thing that sounds the best.
Mm-hmm. That's what you should do.
He ended up with like a $200 guitar.
Yeah, dude, my favorite guitar, the one I just
kept circling back to it. Finally brought it up there, and it's like the Guitar Center brand. What's the Guitar Center brand?
I don't even know.
Some like pretty cheap brand, right? But he's like, it was the best sounding guitar in the place, man. Cost me $200.
Yeah,
he liked it so much he bought another one.
This one over here behind me, I pulled that capo off of a minute ago. I've had it since 10th grade. And it's my favorite guitar. It's just like 200. It's $179 new. Got it for my birthday, and it's amazing. I love it. It's still my number one. And the other one, this Harmony up here, just a straight acoustic. I bought it from a meth head on the marketplace for like, I don't know, like it's like $25 or something, like something stupid. And it's a 1973. And I took it over to my guy at the music store, and they like had a tuner messed up on it, and we replaced it. He fixed everything, and I'm $60 in that guitar. Dang. And it's like the best guitar I got in here.
Dang.
So beautiful sounding.
You know, I have such an unsophisticated ear, you know, when it comes to guitars and stuff like that. Like I said, if somebody can play guitar, I can tell. If they can't play guitar, I can tell.
Yeah.
That's about it. If a guitar is horribly out of tune, like something ain't right. I don't know. But Josh and I went to Fort Worth several months back. My kind of a little bro trip, right? My I'm getting divorced. My wife's divorcing me.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And so her and I had this trip to Florida planned that, of course, didn't go down, right? But I had a week off from the gym, right? I had an instructor coming in to teach, and it's like, man, I could, boy, right about now, I could really use the break, right? Mm-hmm. Me and him go down to Fort Worth, and he ends up talking our way on stage at the White Elephant 2 nights in a row. Which is I don't know if you know about the White Elephant. It's a pretty, like, in the Stockyards. It's like a kind of a pretty legendary little bar and music venue or whatever. He's talking to the musical act for that night. This woman named Rachel Stacy, really good musician, really fun to listen to. But anyway, just meets her like, hey, can I help you bring your stuff inside? No, I got it. Go to the steakhouse next door, and they end up chatting or whatever, and he's like, yeah, we've got a gig. We had a gig over in Azle, right? Anyway, we've got a gig over there. What do you guys play? And everybody down there plays Red Dirt Country.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic artist, right? But if you go down there and listen to 100 different acts, you're going to hear the same 40 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Played quite well, but that's what everybody's playing. And of course, we're playing 90s rock. So she's like, wow, I really love that stuff. You guys want to jump on stage when I take a break? She's like, yeah, we'll do a few songs. He neglects to tell me that. Right? So we're, doing what you do in a bar, listening to music, and it gets, I don't know what, 11 o'clock or something like that, when she's going to take her break, and she's like, all right, what's the name of y'all's band? She's on the mic. What's the name of y'all's band? And he's like, Josh and Zane. Okay, this is Josh and Zane. They're going to play you a few songs. And I'm like, man, that's weird. It sounds like she's saying Josh and Zane. He turns and looks at me. He's like, come on.
Where's Zane?
You're right. Who's Zane? Next thing you know, I'm up on stage. She hands him a guitar. We play a few songs. But we get off stage. Went over real well, right? Because nobody hears that kind of music down there played, right? So it's pretty cool. But anyway, he gets off stage. He's like, man, did you see that guitar she handed me? And I'm like, yeah, it was pretty. It was red. It's like, that's like an $8,000 guitar. It's like, the thing sound amazing? And I was like, it sounded like a guitar.
Yeah.
Like that. I just have no. Anyway, it's a cool trip, fun time. But the funny part was, he plays this amazing Gibson guitar, and I'm just like, yeah, it was red. It sounded like it was in tune.
I will say, like, I've got a lot of different guitars in here, but right over behind you, there's a Les Paul there, and it does sound better than most of the stuff I have in here. I've got several Fenders in here. Strats. I've got it's a Squire, but it's a Telly. I kind of hot rodded it out. But man, that Gibson just has a different tone. The way they make the neck, it's like one piece of wood, the neck and the body. Whereas like all my Fenders, the neck bolts on.
Right,
so.
Okay. That's
But
interesting.
it is, and I don't know if that's what changes the tone of it as much. I think there's a variety of factors going on, but I scored that Les Paul Studio. It was, I think it's a 2013 model, but it only had one owner. There was a place in Fort Smith for years, Ben Jack.
Yeah.
Went out of business, and when they did, Olson's here in town, which went out of business, they bought it and sat on it forever and sold it to a guy that he knew my guitar teacher, and so like I knew everything about the guitar before I bought it.
Yeah.
And because like I was like, I'm gonna make sure it's not a fake, because the guy was like wanting to sell for like Christmas money or something,
Yeah.
and like I got a steal on it, and they had a case with it even. But man, I will say, out of all the ones in here, it's for my electrics. It's just different. It sounds different.
Electric especially. It's like, man, you can do so much with pedals and everything on electrics. Like I'm totally lost. Now an acoustic guitar, he's done it before, right? Listen to this, bling, bling, bling. Now listen to this, bling, bling. Okay, I can see a little difference there, but I'm just pretty stupid about it. I just sing, man.
You ever heard of Billy Strings? He's like actually a bluegrass guy, but he's younger, and he plays with like Wes Claypool from Primus and shit.
Yeah.
But I've seen him sit in with Widespread Panic twice, my favorite band.
Mm-hmm.
He's set in with Trey Anastasio from Fish, set in with Dead and Company, and Bob Weir from Grateful Dead's come over and played with him. So it's like he's real interesting guy, but plays acoustic. But there's some songs where he will use like an overdrive pedal with his acoustic, like distort it, and he's soloing and stuff when he does that, and using volume pedals and just bringing it in and out. And man, it's really amazing how he does that. Like, and I'm even as a guitar player, and like I've got a pretty extensive pedal collection in here. But it's always interesting too. I bet for you also. It was interesting to see a frontman like Maynard from Tool. Like, oh yeah, you just sing. And you're really good at it. Wow, you're amazing. You just sing in 3 bands. But then you take somebody that's like, what's a good example? I'll use this one as maybe a weak example, but Blink 182. 3 dudes, and the lead guitar player is the singer.
Yeah,
like that's interesting to me as somebody that can front a band, but they also are maybe the only guitar player.
Yeah, really, really interesting.
Rush would be another example.
Not a 3-piece, but you remember Days of the New?
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, Travis or something like that. Incredible guitar player,
Chevelle.
Incredible vocalist. Yeah,
that'd be a good one.
Yeah. I don't see how people do it. You got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, and I saw Clutch mention that a while back, and I thought that their singer played more guitar than he did. I'd never seen him before, listened to a little bit of their stuff, seen him perform, and like you see some pictures and seen some videos of him playing guitar with the band. He played guitar in like 2 songs, and that's it. Like he was like the front man. Like he very animated. And that's one thing my buddy Michael Booty and he's been on the podcast, English professor. We've been to a lot of shows together. He's like, man, I thought that he was more of a musical part of the band, but what we were complimenting is how 3 musicians filled that hall up with the sound. That's another thing. Like, okay, well, yeah, so let's say you have a 4-piece, and the front man's not playing guitar. Like, what's I would say typical is you take a band like an Aerosmith or something. They got 2 guitar players.
Yeah,
that's pretty common, and you might, 2 guitar players and a singer. But anytime you get that, like the 3 core musicians and then a front man, and that blows me away too. Like how 3 musicians can sound so accomplished. That's why I use that Blink-182 example, because it's like they did write some good music, and I'm a fan of the guitar player of that band. He's Tom DeLonge. He's on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Aliens and conspiracies.
He's a weird dude.
He's
a weird cat.
I'm a weird guy too.
I like listening to it.
Joe Rogan was pretty dismissive of him, and I like the number of weird fucking people Joe Rogan's had on it, and I kind of get it. Like, he wasn't taking him seriously as an alien guy, but it's like quite literally right after he was on, the Pentagon videos that Joe Rogan still talks about being released were Tom DeLonge's fucking videos.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah, when he's like behind all that in a way, like he really was telling a true story with a lot of, but he didn't want to like give all of his info away. Joe was asking him 20 questions about everything.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going deep on it, but
yeah, I remember him being super dismissive of him.
And then I heard him rip on him like in another podcast. Somebody's like, "Oh yeah, that guy," and he was like, "Yeah, oh, but whatever." But yeah, that I'm interested in him too. I've talked about this with people before, but like Maynard, like wow, dude, you're a singer at 3 bands. That's amazing. Like, wow, and like if you think about it, Tool. I'm seeing Pussifer in November.
Yeah.
But Tool, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle have all had albums come out in the last 2-3 years. So it's like, not only are you in 3 bands, all 3 of those bands have put music out since right before or during the pandemic. How do you do that? That's like a bard. Like a singer of songs. Like, I tell people this, the first dude who wrote Homer down had that shit fucking memorized.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a singer of songs would have had those million lines in his head.
Yeah.
Herodotus, the dude, all the story about Thermopylae, and like he's who gave us that with his
Right.
histories. That was written to be performed.
Yeah.
But so like that's what in Dungeons and Dragons you call bard, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no frame of reference because, like I said, I've written songs before, but they suck, and I never liked them.
I bet they're good.
No.
I bet you would probably be like, my jab sucks, and it's like, I would just do jab with you. This is really good. You know, I'd say my jab sucks too. It's always getting better.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny. Like usually the last song I've written, I'm like, I got one okay song. You know, that's basically the way I feel about it.
See, like
usually the last song I've written, I'm like, yeah, I got one song that's okay.
Well, what's interesting and maybe because it takes talent to be in a band, to play music with other people, but the approach on writing too is interesting to me, right? So I've got a lot of instrumental songs I've written, and it's like, well, fuck, if I could just put some lyrics in. Some of them I do have some good lyrics, but then it's like this gets better the more I go, better I get a guitar, singing and playing at the same time. That's a whole other thing, dude. That's like a whole other thing. I'm not super proficient at that. I will get lost. I'll get off with my guitar's going one way and the vocals the other. So it's hard for me to write the melodies. I can even hear it in my head sometimes, but it's like to be able to collaborate with somebody. I think that's how a lot of bands do it, because you look at the writing credits, there'll be like 5 guys' names on it.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3 guys in the band. It's like, oh yeah, the guitar player was co-writing lyrics. They kind of both came up with it together. You see that a lot, like Pink Floyd.
Right.
Roger Waters and Dave Gilmour.
I always thought too, right? Like, well, the bass guitarist, like, he's writing his bass part, right? So his name's on the thing. That's what I always thought it was. But you never know.
That is too. That is
more.
Sometimes I think it varies by band how they do the songwriting credits. Yeah. So like the big controversy, speaking of 90s bands, Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
The big controversy with them is they had 2 albums. I've seen them several times. I like their music. Their first 2 albums are major success. It's like 97 and 99, I think, when they came out.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the singer, Stephen Jenkins, who was valedictorian of Berkeley School of Music, the way he set the band up was, even though the guitar player, Kevin Cadogan, had written a lot of the lyrics with Stephen Jenkins, like for like all your favorite Third Eye Blind songs. It was all like the whole band entity was set up where Stephen Jenkins was like the sole proprietor, basically. Like everything was under him. It didn't matter who wrote the song. Once Third Eye Blind made it, Third Eye Blind is Stephen Jenkins. Dang. And if you go look into the history of that band, and everybody that's ever played in the original lineup is, other than the drummer, is not with the band anymore. Like they've had 2 really good, Tony Fritianelli and that Kevin Cadogan dude, really good guitar players, and it's like those dudes don't even play music anymore.
Damn.
Yeah, but it's interesting like that. But you can look and get into like the big debate on Pink Floyd. It's like, well, Roger fucking wrote all the songs. And it's like, well, David's the guitar player. Roger's the real creative influence. No, he's fucking not. Okay, David Gilmour is the front man. Okay, sings all the songs and he writes just as many of the lyrics as Roger. Drop the mic. It is like a years-long debate with me and my buddy on that. Like we one time argued all the way from Dallas about who the front man of Pink Floyd was. And what we concluded after several months was that Sid Barrett's the front man and he's dead. Like he was the original front man, Sid Barrett, and then he went, I guess, schizophrenic from doing too much acid for too long. Yeah, see, that's another thing about bands, and I would say what you want to call a drug, but these people, athletes, MMA fighters, bands, is like getting addicted to anabolic steroids or getting addicted to drugs and just totally derailing your career. We're making it better in some cases, I suppose.
I mean, some people would say, right, there's some hard stances on it, right?
Yeah, you ever get into Blind Melon? Shannon Hoon?
No.
They're in 90s. They sing that song No Rain,
Mm-hmm.
which I really like, but they have a lot of, they got one I really enjoy called Seed to a Tree. Super good, but it's
Yeah.
just, it's kind of that quintessential 90s grunge. I forget who they were on tour with when he died, but OD'd of, I think it was a Speedball.
Man, with band like I've been in a few bands, right? And it's like it's for the most part you find two different kinds of musicians. Um, you find really dependable, down to earth guys with not very much talent, or you find really talented guys that you can't get to show up for practice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, my little cover band I'm in now, we got, you know, four guys, right? A little bit of talent, showing up for practice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's that's the hard part, I think, with a band. That's why most
How often do you guys practice? You have like a
once a
regiment?
week.
Yeah, I
Once
think
a
that's
week.
good. And like anybody I jam with, because ultimately I would like to be doing the same exact thing you're doing, just like once a week, jamming with a core group of guys, but like
Mhm.
finding dependable people. And it's like, dude, I am busier than all of these motherfuckers, honestly. And I'm
Right.
I'm just kind of like, anytime I'll start jamming with somebody, I'm like, hey, bro, we should make this like an every Friday at 4 o'clock thing,
Right.
because I can't do it otherwise,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I will say, like, it's been nice this summer because, like, I'm not, for the first time in over 4 years, I don't have two jobs, like this huge ass gym that is gonna occupy like all of my free time when I was not at the college.
Mhm.
Um, Now I have more time to train. Like, that's, I think when we trained was last summer, and it's like I was having to regiment, so I'd spend my summer, all last summer, just going everywhere to train.
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh, I'll see you guys next summer. Or, you know, I have a couple of seminars, do some events, squeeze some privates in here and there, but not the same. And now I have the luxury of doing that, of doing more podcasts. Like, that's where, like, man, everything I was doing was taken away for something else. But I will say, like, I don't feel, I know I will feel more, like, look at this fucking room. You think I would be playing music in a band right now. And I would like to, and,
You got you have more guitars than any guitar player I know.
a collector. You should see my Star Wars action figure collection. It's going to go on the shelf over there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I used to have a like an X-Men action figure
Yeah,
collection.
dude, me too. I wish I
And
still
Justice
did.
League.
Like the '90s cartoon X-Men.
Oh yeah.
That was my jam, dude. Big
Oh,
time. You know, I've got a pedal, and it's Tom Morello plays it. It's called a whammy, but the intro to the cartoon was written on that pedal. And I was just talking about this on the podcast the other day, but I was like, I gotta learn how to play that intro.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
So no, I was a comic book geek before the cartoon. So in 1988 or 89.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what's kind of spawned, I think, the
Well, definitely.
notoriety of the cartoon.
What I think what happened is Wolverine got his own series in the late '80s.
Yeah.
You know, by popular demand, and then he got even more popular because he had his own comic, and then it just blew up from there. But the first comic I ever picked up in a grocery store in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Right, my mom was grocery shopping, and I got bored, so I went over to the magazines or whatever and saw a comic book stand. Picked up this comic. It was Wolverine #2.
Oh, wow.
And talked my mom into buying it for me. I have no idea where it's at now. It's not worth anything anyway, right? Comics are, you know, baseball cards are worth way more than comics for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But just fell in love with the character. It's funny. I get more emotional. I get more moved by comic book movies, particularly comic book animated movies, than literally anything else. Music, sad movies, dramatic movies, whatever. Like I could watch Endgame right now and just if I let myself, right, I won't do it because I'm a man. But I could cry like a baby,
Yeah.
you know, and watch. It doesn't even have to be a sad scene, right? I just get chills because these are my best friends, right? The point is I lived out in the country, so it's not like I could just walk to my buddy's house.
I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it wasn't as much like that. Like I would go out to my grandparents' house. They lived way out in the country, but like my parents were like, all my aunts and uncles lived out there too. But they would like, their kids went to school and they were in town all the time and worked in town. But I would go to my grandma's often and just be like out in the country. But man, it very much like when I was growing up, it was cartoons, comics, action figures. Like those were your friends. Like I legit had no fucking friends. I was like at my house, and it was like I was homeschooled. I was at my house, but my mom had a job.
Yeah.
So it was like I just was not like, I would get my homework done and then I might go fishing at the creek behind my house, and then my parents would be off work, and then kids I knew at school would be out of school, and you might hang out with one of them you knew from church or something.
Yeah.
But it was a very much I turned to popular culture for entertainment, the same sort of thing you're just alluding to.
Yeah, I was the first comic book nerd I knew. There was one other kid in my little school that read comics, and we would get together and.
Did you collect vinyl or anything?
No.
Really?
No.
See, or cassettes, anything like that? Like music, like do you like?
No, I mean, when I so a couple of things. Like, first of all, when I was in like middle school, right about the time kids start getting interested in music, what was on the radio was like Motley Crue and Whitesnake and Warrant and all this like
metal.
party hair metal, and like Dr. Feelgood, 8 Balls. Like I don't know what this stuff is, and I couldn't connect with it, And then I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit, right? And I was like, I need a radio.
Bro, do you like Mother Love Bone?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Mother. Like Andy Wood, what a talented guy. Chris Cornell's, like you mentioned Soundgarden earlier, but Chris Cornell's roommate.
Yeah.
Wow. And 2 members of Pearl Jam in that band.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's when I got interested in music. And the first, 2 tapes that I just wore completely out was Pearl Jam 10.
I've got it on vinyl right behind
and
you.
The Metallica's Black Album.
Ooh, I got to get that on vinyl for sure. Classic.
But back then, I talk about this a lot in my kids' class. Like, if you wanted a new, everything's so accessible now. If I wanted a new tape, like, hey, Soundgarden's new tape is out, Mom. She's like, well, your birthday's in a few months. That's it. So you learned, like keep doing your chores and, saving up your allowance money.
Well, cassettes weren't cheap, dude.
No, they were expensive.
$20 or something, right?
$20, yeah, and that was a lot of money back then.
It really was.
And so you learned like earn it. You got to earn the money. You got to save the money, and you got to wait. And there's none of those things are even a concept in a child's life now. I think it's really problematic. I think one of the big reasons for young adults right now not finding their way and not this and not that is because they go from getting literally anything they want as soon as they want it to adulthood, which is quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Right? And the transition takes that long, right? You go from anytime you want anything, mom, dad, grandma, somebody, my son, for instance, the new Halo game or whatever comes out, well, the day it comes out, somebody's buying him that game. Doesn't matter when, right? So when his birthday comes around, it's like, oh, he's 12. Like, what does he not have? Like, I guess let's buy him a car. I don't know. What are we going to get him? Like, he's got everything, you know? Whereas for me, birthday and Christmas came around. Like, I got a pair of pants. Like, I was genuinely excited I got a pair of pants. Right? Because all of my pants are this much too short, and everybody's shitting on me for it. You know?
It does change like that. Like, I remember, like, you like the old, like, you know, you get socks and underwear every year from somebody, you know, but now it's just like, no, I really needed some new underwear.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You know, somebody gets me some thermal underwear or something for Christmas. I'm like, yes.
Wool socks.
Oh, yeah.
Wool socks are good.
But I think it's a big. I know a lot of young adults out there just flailing. You know, dropped out of college because college felt a lot like work, and they've never had to do that.
Dude,
before.
I dropped out of college 3 times.
Hey, I dropped out of college.
Yeah, and then I was teaching college by the end of it.
I dropped out of college over algebra.
See,
I dropped it 3 times, and I was like, you know what? If this is what I got to do, I don't want to do it.
See, well, I think that's intentional.
By design.
Yeah, it is. And, like, you know, I bag on that, and I've had people that argue with me about it. Like, I used to post about it all the time, but, like, okay, so I got a master's degree, and, you know, the last half of my undergrad and my master's was beneficial because I was only doing the stuff that helped me with, you know, with teaching history and with, like, that really helped me with my business. Like, that's when I started thinking critically. It's like nothing I learned in college mathematics, college algebra, biology, physical science, any of the 66 hours of non-degree related electives I had to take did anything for me other than cost about $20,000.
Yeah. And prove that you can jump through hoops. That's what I think college is designed for. I think it's designed literally to say, here's a piece of paper that says that I can follow your instructions no matter how stupid they are.
Yeah, I can't, though. That's why I stopped working at the college.
That's why I dropped out. I'm not a good
follower.
I'm not. I'm a contrarian. You know, if you tell me, well, this is the way you got to do it because this is the way it's done, and like, okay, you're about to see a different way to do it. I don't care if it's 3 times harder.
Well,
I don't do it that way.
Joe was talking about Eddie on a podcast recently like that, and he goes, here's how Eddie Bravo is. He's like, you'd be like, Eddie, don't go that way. You can't go that way. Nobody can go that way. And he'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why can't we go this way? I'm going to find a way to go this way, and I'm going to get there faster than you going the other way. Like, just like how, like, I'm going to do it in spite of this. But, man.
Well, I've always seen, like, the Twister. I've always seen that. Like, what a convoluted route to breaking somebody's neck. Yeah. There's so many ways to do it.
Yeah.
That don't take all those steps. Why would you even want to do that when there's so many other things that you can do? You know.
Interesting. Like his whole all of his I've got all of his books and DVDs and have followed him for years. And I'm not like massively into, but like, dude, we're talking about Hickson a lot in there, training. We're talking about Gordon and Danaher. And, but then too, like very much like that third person to talk about for me is Eddie Bravo on 10th Planet.
Very interesting. Not to me interesting, not necessarily because I've subscribed to Rubber Guard or whatever. I just like the fact that somebody's like, no, we can do it different. We don't have to do it like that.
And we can smoke weed while we do it. Like that was like another thing Justin, he's like everybody gives him shit, and he didn't really get shit for this anymore. Like, Dad smoked a joint on this podcast, you know. It's like that's where we are. But like, dude, when Eddie Bravo was saying this stuff in like early 2000s, late 90s, even in California, I mean, you gotta think like just I can't remember when medicinal first became legal in California, but I think I was out of high school. Yeah. Right? And it's like now I'm a medical card holder. Mm-hmm. So like people, I'll be like, are you discriminating? I'm a patient. I'm a patient, dude. It's for my inflammation. That's the doctor said, all right? Well, dude, and it's such a fuck show with the get it. Like I went and renewed my card the other day, and like I didn't even see the doctor. I saw this other like receptionist type person named Spencer, and he was like, "Look, I'm gonna go in here and get the doctor's signature, but if you wanted to stay for an extra hour and actually go see the doctor, you could get your card today. And I was like, I gotta get back to Russellville. Send that shit in the mail. Like, but it's, you know, like when it first became legal in Arkansas, they didn't do anything for like 4 years.
Yeah.
So that even when it becomes legal in states, there's a big lag. I think it was Colorado first, then California, and then a lot of like your.
Well, Oklahoma got it several years later, and they were popping.
They are popping now. With it's so easy. So like with Arkansas, you gotta be wealthy to start a dispensary. That's why we don't have a ton.
Right.
And in Oklahoma, they're like, "What you got? Like $200? Yeah, go ahead.
Do it.
You can do it for them." Like, but yeah, to get your cultivation license, like, I mean, there's higher tiers than that, but I want to say it's like $100,000 to get your foot in the door, and they might not approve you in Arkansas.
Well, they might not approve you. That was the thing, is like you can submit your application or whatever it is to do it for several $100,000 or whatever it is that it costs, some ridiculous amount, and they could say no.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and a buddy of mine who's been on the podcast, pharmacist, and he applied and got denied. And some millionaire out of Little Rock got approved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh, I know exactly how you get approved. I know exactly how you get approved. You lace up somebody's pockets."
Oh yeah. Well, and that's what
it's nonsense.
And they're tightening down on stuff even still. And I think that like. I don't know. I think we're going to go back. Even what's so interesting to me, dude, is this. Like, we're a red state. We're conservative. It's Arkansas. Like, politically, that is the reality. But I'm paying $3,000 to an engineer because of a city code that no business owner I know agrees with for this parking lot I just added. Like, how does it get that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not conservatism. That's more government literally like taking $3,000 from me for no reason.
I wish I could convince more people that it's not red versus blue, it's us versus them.
Yeah.
It's the people versus the government and the elites or whatever. Like
New World Order.
What it is, it's WWE wrestling, man. They're making you think they're fighting. All they're doing is taking money out of your pocket so that you'll watch them pretend to fight.
Like
That's
what back in
is.
the WCW NWO versus Wolfpack days, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like let's see, definitely the liberals would be the Wolfpack, right?
I don't know.
Right? Like Kevin Nash power bombing people and Sting. Remember when he went over and had the red mask?
I do. Yeah,
that was great.
But
Hollywood Hogan, he stayed over on that other side.
I don't know my history. I started watching wrestling in I watched it for a very short amount of time. While I was married to Rodney's sister-in-law. So I was married to Rodney's wife's sister. I was married to her for 4 years.
Is that how you met it?
And we watched wrestling. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how I met it. I used to see him. It's funny, when I first moved to Waldron, I would see him jogging down the road, and I'm like, what kind of idiot just jogs down the road? Who's jogging? You know? But he'd be jogging, then one of these days, somebody told me, like, yeah, man, he's a black belt in karate. And I was like, I beat up a black belt in karate in high school. It's not impressive. Like, I don't. It's like, I don't care about that. It doesn't. Eventually, I was working at Tyson, and Rodney had worked at Tyson, so he knew some people that worked at Tyson, some of his buddies or whatever, and then I started hearing the legends, of him getting into fights and beating people up. I hope I didn't tell this story the last time I was on the podcast, but there's this legendary story of Rodney beating the piss out of like 6 dudes in a bar. And I've heard this from the perspective of 2 different people that were there. One of them, my friend Marty Nelson, didn't know Rodney at the time. He just had met him, and he's like, well, he's from Waldron, I'm from Waldron, right? So, he gets into a fight like there's not very many of us, so I'm riding with him. Anyway, he sees a fight break out. Rodney's over there fighting with these guys. He's like, man, I stood up and took a couple steps over there. I was going to help him. He's like, I realized right quick. He's like, I was either going to get in his way or I was going to get knocked out, one of the two. Because he's like, man, he's like, I've never seen anything like it to this day. He's like, bodies flying everywhere. One dude walk up and get knocked out. Another dude walked up and get thrown across the room. And that's how it went for about 15 seconds until there's just a whole bunch of people laying around. And then he went to leave, and they decided they were going to, by God, throw him out. And he said, and then more people got knocked out and thrown all over the place.
I have these two teenage cousins. They're like 14, play football, and they always want to fight me two on one. But the other day, I was like, all right, come on. And then one of them tried to grab me, and I threw him with her Raigoshi, the judo throw, just like sweeps him over, and I dropped him. And then I standing guillotine the other one, and they were both done like in an instant. Mm-hmm. But that's, dude, I got to tell people when I teach, because it's judo black belt, but when I teach throws, I'm like, break, fall, slap the mat, like, go get your reps in, but, ruin this person's back. But, like, in reality, if I throw you, like, I could fall on you, but I might not want to go to the ground. Mm-hmm. If I drop you in a hammer throw like that, it is horrible. Like, if I just, like, throw you and then let go of you and you fall 3 feet straight down, it's terrible, dude.
Well, especially if you've got the whipping action, and then the first thing that lands is your pelvis, you're done, man. That happens in a parking lot, you're done.
Dude, the last time I trained with Rolly, he was telling me that he fell off a ladder, like, last year and broke his pelvis. Like, holy shit, right? Like, terrible. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And it was like a ladder off of like his cabin. Like, it was just like a 1-story, like, getting up on his roof. I was helping my grandpa when I was a kid one time, and one of those ladders that like extends up, but it came under, and he just fell like a step or two at the bottom. Mm-hmm. But man, yeah, that'd be rough, breaking your pelvis.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while you see and it's a real thing. It's a thing for it's like no martial art is complete. You know what I mean? No martial art is like, in order for you to train it safely, you got to leave some stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell people this a lot. In I think it's 1895. So judo was codified in 1882. And I think it was 1895 when it was 1895 or 1905 when it between those years that it became PE in Japan. Mm-hmm. And so there's some earlier iterations of Kodokan Judo, which I have 3 copies of, 2 up there and 1 at the house, where there are neck breaks.
Wow.
Right? Like, but they're like, oh, gotta take that out of there because of the PE.
Right.
But like, for example, if I'm like belly to back with you, I wrap around your neck like this, like a reverse standing guillotine. I bend you over backwards. Break your spine that way. It's like kind of like, like, and then too, there's a throw based off of that. And you see this in one of I think it's the very last set of katas. There's 10 katas in Kodokan Judo, and they're all after black belt that you start doing the katas. But this was like the kata that the founder was doing when he died. And there's like one where you drop somebody, like they're bent over backwards like that, and you drop them on the mat. But like, imagine, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're bent over backwards, your feet are on the floor, and I got you in that sort of thing, and then I just let you go.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. That's why I really think I argue with people all the time. Not very much, but I enjoy arguing with people when I do. That MMA is the best modality for self-defense.
For sure.
You've got all the I'm sure there's plenty of like Krav Maga guys out there, right, that are really tough and whatever. But
here's what I say about Krav. Are you an Israeli Special Forces member? Me either. And if I was the Israeli government, I wouldn't be teaching it to fucking white Americans.
Well, here's the thing. There's no, like, okay, You do Krav Maga. How often do you spar?
How often do you shoot at the range?
How often do you spar? And of the techniques that you practice in your one steps or whatever it is that you're doing, the drills that you do, of those techniques, what percentage of those techniques do you use in live sparring? Because the only stuff you're using in a real fight is the stuff you use in live sparring.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to implement something in a fight for your life that you've never implemented on somebody during a sparring match. What are you going to think your way through it? Now, what? Oh, usually I do the thumb to the eye here, but like, no, man. You see, world class fighters, like their technique when they get in an actual fight, the technique is way degraded.
Mine goes up and I see red and bodies hit the floor. Like that is the order of operations, dude.
Mine's normal.
Dude, in reality, I tell people this. I'm like, man, first degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, own a really nice big school, have lots of students, and still sometimes I will hold my fucking breath. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like the number one thing since like year one is like striking,
Yep.
breathe. Doing jiu-jitsu, breathe. But then there'll just be times where I hit a really explosive scramble with somebody and I might come out on top, I might not, and it's like during that scramble I held my breath for a second. Now I'm recovering and dying for it, you know, in that next situation.
I'll hold my breath during striking because I think I instinctively do it so that I don't hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's this way. If I breathe or growl into a strike, I'm going to hit harder than I want to hit somebody.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that a little bit when I'm sparring.
And he's Coach Core to do this in some of her kickboxing fights. She won IKF twice and even MMA. But like you start getting tired or like you're not like really pushing through on your strikes. He'd be like, bark at her. Like,
yes. When I hit mitts or hit the bag,
mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely screaming.
Yeah, that's like Tim, our boxer I mentioned too.
Oh yeah.
And like Cora was just joking the other day. She's like, he's so loud. Like, but there's something like that. But it's just like I was like, yeah. And if it was you over there training, you'd be making the same sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But because she gets it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm hitting mitts or hitting the bag or whatever, I'm really loud. But I'm always like trying to hold back on my sparring partner mainly because I don't want them to hit me hard.
That
you know.
Well,
22 years martial arts experience. I'm terrified to get into a fight at a freaking gas station.
Dude, speaking of,
I don't want that.
I mean, I didn't talk to him about it. I just saw him post on Facebook about it. But somewhat recently, like within the last year or so, Rolly was at a gas station, and some crackhead just like he's like I want to say he got out of his car and then like turned around to get something out of the seat or console or something, or like was pumping gas, like just normal stuff we do.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think about this a lot now when I get gas, like
Mm-hmm.
especially like a Love's or something that's like multiple pumps on all sides. But somebody just sucker punched him.
Wow.
And it's like he's strapped.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, next move, motherfucker. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And then that person just was like visibly crazy.
Yeah.
And, walked away. And it's just like some crackhead at a gas station, sucker punch you. And it's like, it's like, how do you do plan for that. That's awareness. Now, when I'm at a gas station, I am aware that could happen because it happened to somebody I knew in an hour away.
Right. There's two. I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter.
It's same.
I have a concealed carry permit.
I had one for a long time. I had the enhanced too, but now it's like open carry state for Arkansas, so I didn't renew.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to renew.
I got profiled when I got pulled over one time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be in their fucking database now.
Really?
Like the cop knew that I had he's like, he had ran my plate before he got up to the car. And immediately, as soon as he walked up to me, and I never had been asked this and being pulled over my whole life. You got any guns in the car? You have any weapons in the car? Or whatever he said, you know, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, and I did, like how I had it, it's actually in here right now. But it was a little 380, and I was like, there is a gun in my backpack in the back seat, and the magazine is in the console. There's not a bullet in the chamber. I was like, oh, have you been drinking? And I'm like, no, sure hadn't. Yeah, and like we were leaving family Christmas.
Yeah.
And like it was like literally 15-mile distance, and got pulled over right as I was about to get on the interstate, because little dip there where they get you, like where the speed reduces like 10 miles per hour. Like you go under the overpasses to get on. And he just, and I didn't even see him. I mean, I wasn't intentionally breaking the law or anything. I just woke up from a nap because I was too full, had lasagna and stuff. And this dude walked up, and this is like, it was a weird interaction, and it was because I had my concealed carry.
Yeah, I've been asked, you know, you have any firearms or whatever? Yes, I do. Well, just where's it at? And I told him, he said, well, keep it there. Yeah, that was the plan, buddy.
Dude, I thought it was funny, me and yesterday, but Brandon Motley's black belt, trained with me forever, and fought MMA, but he's possum cop now, game warden.
Yeah.
And this meme is like a game warden, like checking somebody's fishing license out on, you know, 2 boats out in the thing. He's like, anything on this boat shouldn't be on here? No, sir, just you. But I mean, for real, like I heard Joe Rogan say this the other day, but I've heard this before, and I'm not a huge Ronald Reagan fan. Like the dude's, historically, I got some problems with him, but he has a great saying: "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Like that's the statement. And I mean, dude, this like code enforcer, and I went to the city the other day, and I was basically like, look, I came here to do the stuff y'all said. Ball's rolling. You need to tell your guy that he didn't get stopped by my business without letting us know that he's coming. I was like, I've seen him roll up, pull into the lot, not follow the arrows. I was like, you think a cop of 14 years is a code enforcer's former cop? It's like, would know how to drive through a parking lot.
Yeah.
I was like, but he doesn't. I was like, and then he goes and he sits in my back lot for 10 minutes. And goes and sits in my front lot for 10 minutes. Like he's like waiting on me to get there so he can bust me. I was like, I see this on the cameras. I have recordings of it. Here they are. I was like, I don't like this. I was like, it says on the front door all of our contact information. Like, this dude is showing up unannounced on my private property. Well, you know, and they were trying to tell me he can do that. And I'm like, have you ever heard of the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution? Like, just because I was like, I can literally tell the cops to get off my property. Like, if they just show, because I mean, kind of done it before. Like, during the pandemic, they're over here looking for somebody. There's a bunch of hotels over here and stuff, and I don't know what's going on, but they're like, we're in here rolling, lights are off. It's like, well, lockdown's going on.
Yeah.
And I walk up to the door, and the door is locked, and I'm like, yeah, what? Hello? You know, like, door's locked, and he's like wanting me to let him in. I'm like, I'm not even supposed to be here, dude. Like, everybody's supposed to be at home. And he's like, we are not here for you. Have you seen a man run through here? You are not in trouble. Like, I was like, okay, good. I'm glad to know where RPD is on this. But it was just like, I was just kind of like, dude, we didn't call you.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you're here. Like, this is my $500,000 lot, and I didn't call you, and we're closed.
Yeah. You know, big supporter of law enforcement. They got a hard job, an impossibly hard job.
They do.
But I've also been pretty darn annoyed a few times, you know, with there in Van Buren. Multiple times I've been pulled over for something like speeding. Okie dokie, you got me, right? I'm speeding. Cool. Like, write me a ticket. Whatever you need to do. I get it. Okay, I'm speeding. Breathalyze me, right?
I've never been breathalyzed, ever.
No, get this. I was at a girlfriend's house, had a beer, watching the UFC at my girlfriend's house, had a beer. Waited, had a beer like when the UFC started, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going home after the UFC's over. You know how long this takes.
Yeah,
Right.
like 9 to midnight.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm headed home. Yeah, you had any alcohol? Yeah, drank a beer. You know, I'm gonna have you take this breathalyzer. Okie doke, right? Blow, look, clear it. Blow again, look, clear it. Change the tip. Put a different tip in. Blow again. The 2 different officers did this to me. I'm like,
Oh, and
what are you trying to do?
You're being honest with them. That's the.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
being honest and super polite, by the way, because I know their job is hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yes sir and yes ma'am and all that, and I'm trying to move very deliberately and be super cool because I know that when they pull me over, they don't know me. I could be the guy that shoots them. I get it. I get it. So I'm super cool. And they're just being pretty darn disagreeable with me for no reason, and like trying to catch me on. I feel like they're trying to catch me on a technicality or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, man, I get you being jaded. I get you being skittish. I get you being having your hackles up. I get like any kind of like attitude I get from a police officer. I don't appreciate it, but I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're in the customer service business, and all their customers are assholes. I get it. Everybody they interface with, you know what I mean, is usually lying to them or trying to hurt them or whatever. So I have a lot of empathy for that, but man, like, why do I feel like you're really, really out to get me? Why do I feel like you really want to give me a DUI?
Well, I think part of that, man, is just like literally the whole traffic stops. It's like, I talked about this, and I'll release this episode, but I just did this last week with Trey McCool, this historian, and we're talking about law enforcement, but it's like the pool of people that you get to do the job, because it doesn't pay a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, hey, we want you to leave your family or your everything for 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of systemic issues, and like they don't really get compensated for all the bullshit they have to deal with. So I feel like they draw a lower caliber person.
They do.
And
I really think they do. Now, once again, to be clear, some of my best friends, some of the people I respect the most in the world are former police officers.
I got a guy here and like
officers.
runs the whole morning program.
Yeah.
And he's 20 years law enforcement.
And they're phenomenal people. Like they're my brother. Some of my best friends. Don Paul Bales, former police officer, great freaking guy. That's my brother. I'll take a bullet for that guy. Dan Casper, one of his black belts, great freaking guy, great guy. Several of Don Paul's students, police officers, like them all real well. But I tend to agree. It's one of 2 different people that you get. You get people like the people I'm talking about right now, which are just great people, who will tolerate the pay to try to do something that they want to do and make a difference. And I 100% believe that's what they did. But I know I'm not going to name names because I don't want to speak on it. I don't want to speak out of turn. But I know police officers who were fired for exposing corruption.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Dude, I probably saw him going to try and roll it. They're doing some sort of operation on 40, but I saw 10 cops. And I saw 6 coming back.
Yeah.
And some of the same ones. And I stopped seeing them once I got coming back this side of Morrilton.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually I'll see 1 or 2 driving to Morrilton. But, man, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like,
speed traps, stuff
yeah,
like that.
I'm
really
like, I'm
like
really
hiding somewhere so that you can catch me speeding. Like, man,
well, yeah,
you got to hide from me so that you can protect me.
That's it. The message that sends. Like when I told this guy this, like when I pass a cop, I'm automatically like, oh, I hope I'm not breaking the law. And it's like, routinely,
Shouldn't be like
I do
that,
not break
right?
the law,
Yeah.
you know, and then I'm scared of these people that are trying to catch me breaking the law,
Right.
right? And like you said, they might be like, oh, well, I think you should get in trouble, and I'm going to try and hang you up.
Yeah. It's really bizarre to me. You know, in the story I heard about the breathalyzer things, like, well, most people when they say one, they're lying. Like, well, that's awesome. I'm not most people. I said I drank one, and when I blew, it looked like one.
Mm-hmm.
So what game are we playing? What are we doing? I said one. I blow, and it looks like I said 1 3 hours or 4 hours ago, and it looks like I drank 1 3 or 4 hours ago. So what are we doing now?
Yeah.
Why are we continuing to do all this
There's
nonsense?
so I don't even remember the whole sentiment of the meme, but it's like basically like a guy's driving with drugs in the car, so he's not going to break any laws, and it's like the dude behind him's like, hurry up, man. He's like, no way, buddy, not this car. I got drugs in here. Like, it's not driving faster.
Well, you know, as far as the systemic issues with the police department, I've thought for a long time, like, I think a complete overhaul of training and pay. Like, what if?
Well, schedule too.
Yes, schedule.
And
Like
the
they should do like tours, like the military. Like they should do 6 months on the street and 6 months behind a desk or something.
I agree.
Maybe 6 months on patrol and 6 months at the school.
Well, so this is
or hanging out at the mall or something. You know.
I with where we are with society, man. Like, this is a controversial issue, but it's like, I don't want to pass you in the middle of town. I want your ass to be sitting over at Russellville School District, making sure ain't nobody walking up in there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, that's the controversial issues, like, you know, law enforcement guarding the students. What kind of country is this? Back to that Second Amendment discussion. But it's like, instead of out trying to catch citizens breaking the law so they can generate revenue, I mean, that's piracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, literally protect us.
Right.
Like, there are bad people. Like, what are you going to do about them?
Let's make sure they don't go to the last places that we want them to be.
Yeah.
Like
Well, and there's
schools.
like, man, so soft on crime. I think you and I walked back here. I don't remember. When you were here last, we walked out in the back. I had all that cleaned out. There's a huge shed back there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a homeless person living in that shed.
Wow.
And the cops, like, busted him. Like, the church had seen him go back there and called the cops. We weren't here. And they're like, hey, you know, and I see this guy's arrest warrant in the shed. And it's like his laundry list, all these failures to appear and warrants and all these different times that he had seen the judge and been given a further fine and everything. They didn't even arrest the guy.
Right.
No, get out of here. And but that's what I mean. Like, unless it is like a serious, like, and this guy's like original crime was like a theft of, it wasn't property. I was written up like it's somebody else, like he stole services or something, right? Like, I don't know how per se, but like theft of services up to so many thousands of dollars. But I will say, it seems like, I don't know what they're doing other than pulling people over and giving tickets, because it seems like every other crime you want cops to deal with, they're soft as fuck on.
Yeah, they're not very fast to respond to,
particularly
the
theft
that you want them to respond to. You know, with back to the pay thing, like, instead of the way it is now, why not pay them? Why not start a police officer at like $60,000 a year, and have the pay scale go up to, I don't care what, $100,000 a year. I bet you could cut most police forces in half if you started the pay like that, and then you're not.
You get a better
You're
quality
not
person.
hiring. Yes, you're not hiring Joe Bill. You're hiring Jocko Willink. You know what I mean?
Well,
You're
these
hiring
dudes up there in Mulberry
Tim Kennedy
the other day, right in your backyard, that beat the
Yes.
fuck out of that guy.
Mhm.
That was national news.
Yeah.
Dyer, Mulberry.
It was, no, I think it started there now. I think that was in Van Buren, which is where I live.
Okay.
And beat the crap out of the guy.
Dude.
And like, look, I'm not soft on. I worked at so Rodney and I worked at a juvenile facility together.
He still does, right?
No,
or is he
no, he's a
still doing that?
juvenile. He's a juvenile officer for Scott County. But long story short, I know what it's like to try to get somebody in handcuffs that does not want to be put in handcuffs. I know what resisting feels like. It doesn't look like resisting, right? But if I put you belly down or even on your back and I'm like, roll over, and you won't, that's resisting. And the longer you stay on your back, the more likely it is you pull a knife out of your pocket or something and you start stabbing me up. So that's resisting. If I take you down and I tell you to roll over to your belly, you better roll over to your belly or I'm going to start getting rather violent to get you to do that. Because the longer I don't have exactly control of you, the more danger I'm in. And I know this as a person who's tried to do this before. And this whole thing of like, well, he wasn't resisting. Well, yeah, he was, because he wasn't doing what he was told. So this kid, first of all, I've seen this turn over, and then there's another staff member laying on the kid, won't let him turn over. Mostly because they're knuckleheads and they don't know what they're doing. They're just grabbing at something because they have no idea what else to do. They don't even know that they're stopping, many restraints over the years that I worked there. And a kid would be like, I'm literally trying to, Mr. Jeff over here won't let me. Like, please let me turn over. I'm trying to give you my hands. Right? Like, okay. Well, Jeff, loosen up, Jeff. All right, let's do this. Oh, here we go. Click. Cool. So there's that. But then there's also this very passive-looking resistance, and it is dangerous for a police officer because there's a reason the person doesn't want to turn over and give you his hands and go in cuffs. And it's not because he wants to lay there and have a talk with you, right? It's because he wants to fight you, hurt you, and or get up and run away. So that's a thing. But what they did was way too far. Like, look, man, you can't bounce a dude's head off the pavement in order to get him in handcuffs.
Like they were doing like GSP knees, dudes.
Yeah, man. Look, and again, here's the thing: if that was one police officer roughing him up like that, I'd be like, hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, I mean, what's that person's alternative? He could tase him, maybe. If he can control him.
Well, we've
while
seen
he
some
gets
weird
to his
tasing
taser.
incidents over the last 2 or 3 years too. Like that one guy that I want to say they did tase him or tried to tase him, but like it looked like, I want to say he tried to take the taser from the officer and they ended up shooting him, killing him.
Yeah.
As I think this was the black dude that was asleep in his car in the Wendy's drive-through or something like that, right?
Seeing it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but a couple of taser, like the one lady officer, she thought she was gonna tase the guy and shot him.
Yeah,
like stuff like that. Like
that's messed up. And again, here's the problem with tasers. Like, if you're under serious duress, you pull your taser and the taser's ineffective. Well, you only have time for one pull. You pulled the wrong thing. You got a taser, and now this man who outweighs you by 100 pounds wants to kill you. He's going to take your taser from you and it's going to be like, that's my taser, right? Because he weighs 100 pounds more than you, right? If you're a female, or if you're even a guy built like me, it's not.
I even know a cop in
crazy,
Oklahoma that has one arm.
Yeah,
he couldn't get a job in Arkansas, but he ended up moving, and it's like right here that it's cut off.
I don't. So then you'd have to have a whole, So there's people out there. Well, he shouldn't have shot him because the guy was unarmed. Like, every cop's got to be Batman.
Well, here's
like, what are we doing? Because now no women can be cops.
No, that definite problem with that. And here's another thing: like, we can sit here and talk about this, and you've got some experience, and I've trained law enforcement with training several times.
Yeah.
But having not had those feelings, not basically developed the post-traumatic stress that I know every cop has to develop. Like, I did blue belt here at the gym, just started being a cop. It's already seeing horrible shit like suicides, you name it. Like, just first week on the job.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I've heard him describe this way, like you see people on the worst day of their life, at the worst time. But yeah, I mean, cops, that's raw in that way. And then it's like, we're going to pay you 30 grand.
We're going to pay you nothing.
Yeah,
we're
I remember.
Pay you enough. I mean, there's, I don't know if it's still this way, but, you know, back when I lived in Waldron, just about every cop was on food stamps.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so there's a guy, and now he works across the street and doing a lot better. But we went to high school together. He's a little older than me. He graduated college while I was still in college, got a degree in criminal justice, went and started working at Clarksville Police Department, and at the time I was working at Walmart, and I made more money per year than he did. He started off at like $19,200 per year, and this would have been like 2008, 2008 or 9.
Yeah.
Right? Probably 2008. And it was like, and then too, this person's, and now it's funny because I am who I am, and like people respect me more. I don't know, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking weird. But like this guy, like when he first became a cop, I remember he just changed. I'm like, bro, you used to be like guy I consider my friend. Now you're a fucking dick. Like, yeah. And just like everybody kind of said that. And like, this is like one of my best friend's cousins. Like, this is my best friend's cousin, right? Yeah. Like, so I'm just kind of like, but now, like, I saw him a while back in Conway, and he was like, walks up to me from across the store, and I bullshit with him for a little while, and I'm like, you fucking gave me that ticket, dude. Like, thought we were friends, you know? And like, this is like years later, but I'm just like, you know, you don't get paid enough. You got to put your life on the line every day. Yeah, and like, I mean, here's the thing, dude. If I don't if I ain't gonna appreciate you, the system's fucking broken. Like, yeah. And I do have an appreciation, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, don't fucking tell me that you train enough.
Right.
Like, there are just systemic things. Like, I remember when the George Floyd thing was going on. Like, I was providing heavy commentary about that on the podcast and everywhere.
Yeah.
And some lady I know through the gym, like her husband's a detective, became a detective. Like, they're great people.
Mm-hmm.
Train their kids. But the husband could not fight his way out of a wet fucking paper bag, dude. Like, no way. Like, it was not in shape. Like, he came in and did some like, you know, like, he could throw a punch, but his hands were down. Like, you know, like this, you know, whatever. And it's like, he had been on the force for over a decade, was just like patrol, but then he got this detective job. And it's like his wife was arguing with me about how highly trained he was. And it's like, I've rolled with him. Like, there's no lying on the internet about it. Like, and it's like, I don't want to talk shit about your husband right now, but like, he's totally fucked. If he runs into my 6-month student, he's totally fucked.
Yeah.
Like, if he runs into a high school wrestler, he's totally fucked. If he runs into a Taekwondo black belt, totally fucked.
A college basketball player.
It's somebody that is above average. Who has been in a
fight or two.
Above average human being.
There's a, I feel bad because we're sitting here just shitting on cops.
But some of our friends are cops, and we love you.
I love
you, Josh.
Yeah, I love police officers in general. Like their job. Once again, their job, their job is really hard. But you know, the ones that I say, there's, you know, I've seen you know, police officers get out there. I mean, and just waddle around their car. Like, man, you can't fight off heart disease.
Dude.
How are you supposed to fight off anybody trying to kill me?
You're talking about having a gun in the car. Like, we got pulled over in McAlester, Oklahoma one time going to a jiu-jitsu competition, BJF Dallas. And that cop gets out, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, you're going a little over the speed limit, you know? And it's like, I think at that time, like and it's done this to me in Oklahoma a couple of times, they'd had those 75-mile-an-hour speed limits before Arkansas did. Mm-hmm. And it was like, but it had reduced. Like, McAllister's like on the interstate. Like, you go through the town, it's on both sides of the interstate, like right there, like service roads. It's like the speed limit kind of changes and then goes, it was going a little over. Got a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I had a cop with me, great dude, and he has his gun with him, And this guy pulls us over, and he's got the mustache, like stereotypical dude. Like, I just like, where's the donut, bro? Like, you got a coffee and a donut in each hand right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, hey, I got a gun in here. And he goes, cool beans, and like walks back to his car, like doesn't ask, doesn't say anything else, just cool beans, and like waddles back over and then comes back with the ticket. And like quite literally, I just trained Pulaski County SWAT with Dring, and I had like the lesson plan outline on my dash.
Mm-hmm.
And like I thought he was gonna come back and like maybe not write me a ticket for some reason, like man, maybe we can talk more about this gun thing and establish this dude's a cop and you could let us off,
Yeah.
But no, he came back with a ticket and was like, see y'all later.
Okey doke.
Yeah.
Okey doke. Yeah. I just, a few bad experiences, man, that I've had with police officers that really left.
And I would say we're model citizens.
I
mean, dude, I don't know a ton about you, but like, I know that I bet if you and I even went out anywhere together, we'd be holding doors open for people.
Oh,
yes, sir, no, sir.
Yeah.
Helping somebody get something off the top shelf, like whatever. Like that's the type of person I am. I'm gonna pass you walking down the road in the morning and say, "Good morning, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Like riding my bike over on the trail, like, how's it going? It's just like definitely not out looking for problems.
Mm-hmm.
The opposite. So for somebody to act any way other than that towards me, and it's
sticks in my craw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sticks in my craw. Now, from just average regular old drunks and crackheads and idiots or whatever, I get it, and I expect it, right? But from police officers, when it's annoying. I know why. It's still annoying,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the higher pay like that, man. If you could have a police force like super well trained before they ever get there, right? Like extremely confident. I talked about this in the kids class all the time. Confidence equals compassion, right? Like if you punch Superman in the face, right, he's not hitting you back. You get all sideways, with somebody very powerful or whatever. Like they're much more likely to let you off the hook. I talk about myself for a second because I'm my favorite subject. But it's in a local restaurant there in Van Buren, and there's some drunk jerk, being a drunk jerk, right, at the bar. And I know the owners, and they were like, man, we're about to put you on the payroll here in a minute. Like, we're getting sick of this guy. We're going to have to get him out of here. Long story short, I went over there and talked to the guy, and he was an idiot to me, and okey doke, man, okey doke. I went back and sat back down. Kind of wanted to just snatch him up and throw him out of there, but he's about your size, and I was like, if he was closer to my size, I might just grab him up in a little, come along, and I might throw him outside like a frisbee, and we might be done. But he was closer to your size, and I'm like, I might have to kind of rough him up if I'm going to get him out of here. And I'm not actually on the payroll, right? So local MMA coach beats up dude in the bar is not the story I want.
Mm-hmm.
Local MMA coach working security at the vault handles business. That's not even a story, right? So it's like I'm not doing this unless this guy attacks me, right? So I go and sit back down. Well, he comes over and is kind of jawing at me some more or whatever, and eventually leaves me alone. Because I won't feed into it, right? But the people that were asking me, like, I don't understand how you didn't get mad, and I'm like, anger is a result of fear most of the time, and I have no fear of that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people out there I'd be scared of that aren't trained at all, right? If they're built like a fire hydrant, like, yeah, that's not somebody I really want to fight with, and I might be scared. I definitely wouldn't want them to hit me first, but like this guy was just not, other than being relatively big, right? It was no threat at all, so I was able to be compassionate, right, and not like put his nose over on the side of his face and take him outside and slam him on the concrete or whatever. Police officers should be confident enough, no matter where the conflict takes place or what's going on, that they are able to handle it without. Because the way it is now, man, it's like either do what I say or I will shoot you. That's the only. They can't go hands-on with anybody. And you see them. Most of the shootings that I see, honestly, are good shootings, quote-unquote good shootings. Like, yeah, that was. Yeah, guy reached for his gun, or guys fighting him, or whatever. He picked up a pipe or something like that, and he got shot. Like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But if you rewind the tape about 5 minutes, that cop should have went hands-on a long time ago. And he didn't have the confidence to do it. He allowed this guy. This happened at the juvenile camp a lot. You let these kids gain confidence and like pump themselves up and escalate themselves to the point where they're able to take themselves to a place they should not go, right? They get all amped up, and next thing you know, they end up doing something that if you were originally like, hey, I used to literally just like grab them or push them, right? It's like, hey, listen to me. I just put my hands on you. I'm not afraid to do it, okay? We can fight. If you want to fight, we can do that. I don't want to do it, though. Let's just do this, right? Just do what and something clicks in their brain like, oh, okay.
Take an edge, you give them a mile type of a deal.
Yeah, just grab them. Like, I am not afraid to put my hands on you, right? And that's what, some more confidence, which comes with training.
It does, and I like most precincts, departments, are training so little, like 40 hours a year or something like that.
Or every 2 years.
Yeah, or I think it is 40 every 2 years maybe. But it's, or they'll do, and they don't even do that. And it's like, that's all the training. That's not the hands-on training. I think the hand-to-hand, they maybe do 8 hours every 2 years or something like that.
And they train the stupidest stuff. Wrist locks and stuff like that. Like, come on, man.
And then they, the certification process on like, well, who's training them? Who's training them at the department? And it's like, Russellville has like McMillan, who trains with me. Like, he's going to get his jiu-jitsu black belt. He's a judo black belt. He's an aikido black belt already. Like, was for years. Like, did Olympic fencing. Is a teenager. Like, martial artist and law enforcement through and through. So he's training a lot of the guys, and he's chief of campus police, trains his guys. But you don't usually get that. You usually get some guy that like maybe did some hand-to-hand in the military, and he's, the sergeant or something, and it's like they're going to send him to an annual thing to become a certified trainer, and it's like he's going to come back and not train martial arts at a gym at all. He's just going to go get certified. And then it's like now that's blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
It's like, you and I are sitting here talking about all this, and it's like we train all the time, and we still have like some reverence for the fact that like, dude's bigger than me, like anything could happen.
Yeah.
Like
especially on the, that's tell people all the time, like on the feet, like, man, that's a dynamic engagement, man. It's an explosion. Anybody can get knocked out. That's terrifying.
100%.
Man, Don Paul Bales has an amazing law enforcement combative system that he's developed.
The guy that I mentioned a couple of times, Daniel O'Brien, that I just had in for the seminar, he has a instructor, it's a law enforcement trainer, nationally known, old school Hickson guy, but I think they're under like one of the Machados now. Well, it's like when Hickson moved away for 10 years. But this guy's name is Johnny Lee Smith. I was like, fuck, what's his name? Johnny Lee Smith. But Johnny Lee has this GST is what it's called, Gracie Survival Tactics, but it's like a national certification. It's like he does all sorts of stuff. Like he came in to Russellville a while back with McMillan, and like they were doing a shooting, like Dream came to it, like a big shooting certification. Even Caleb from Inferno came to it. But this guy's also jiu-jitsu black belt, and his student Daniel like is an amazing like. And how ironic is it? This dude had a brown belt come in last night and train with me. Like I'd never trained with Daniel Bryan until 2 weeks ago at the seminar. Then he got a brown belt working in Bentonville. So on his way back, stops in, trains with us. Awesome time. Tons of shared interest. Like came over in the studio last night and was like, "Oh man." I was like, "Yeah, dude. Come back and hang out." He's going to be working in Bentonville, he said, for several months. So
Yeah.
really cool guy. And he's 285 or something like that. Did not smash me. Because my back's like fucked up this week. Like, I did the chiropractor yesterday.
Yeah.
Trained super hard all week, like super sore. Rolled with that guy. Just positions.
Yeah.
Just like we trusted each other. It was weird. Then I go roll with my football player and he wrecks my body.
Man. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, right? Like Maynard talks about it. But there's a lot of people, like I won't roll with anybody that doesn't have like a lot of experience. And then it's like, hey, like don't hurt me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna try.
It is. It's
like,
got to be a trust.
Feel how I roll with you, right? I mean, we wouldn't even have to have that conversation, right? You would just boom, boom, and I'd grab you and you'd go, okay. Right?
I would feel what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Like this, like that Altair guy. I was rolling with him on Wednesday. Like, honestly, like just like this dude, Brazilian, 3rd-degree black belt. Like I thought he was way younger than he was. He was 33, closer to my age. But I just kind of, I'd just seen this dude compete in a super fight, and like, kind of intimidating guy. Even he's smaller than me. Like I'm 20 pounds more than him, but like it's like this dude's fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Like we roll, and it was just like no pressure.
Yeah.
He just move.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, I'm gonna move over here, and he's like, me too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let's go over here now. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I was saying this in there earlier when we were training, like I would like frame up in his shoulder, or his hip, or something. I started on bottom. He kept trying to pass my guard. I'm framing up, and he wouldn't push into my frame.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I see you stopped me from moving forward here. I'm going to move around that frame a little bit. And I'm like, well, I'll move my frame over here. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'll go over there now. And I'm like, well, I'll go over there too. But then it just became, it was like, I use the analogy of speed chess. Move, tap. And then you move, tap.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of back and forth like that the whole time. He never really tried to submit me. Like, it was just, he just passed my guard a couple of times. I got my guard back a couple of times. And afterwards, super, thank you, coach. And I'm like, thank you, sir. You're very good. Well, you are very good.
Man, maybe once every few months I'll roll with a student. I'll roll with my teenagers a little bit because they're my size. And but I mean, with a mouthpiece in, because they're headbutts and elbows.
Oh,
and,
dude.
They don't know where they're at.
Well, I was wrong with a white belt the other week, and dude, this was like, I was like, fuck, man, are you going to pay the mortgage?
Yeah.
I was like, because you're rolling with me like you're going to pay the mortgage after you fucking kill me.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you want to have a place to train, you will.
Yeah.
But I was like, because, like this place needs me to be here every day. Yeah. So it's like, you want me to roll with you the way you're rolling with me?
Yeah.
I was like, because you will not like that. And I was like, and I've never rolled with you the way you're rolling with me. I was like, and you're about one pinch of my skin away from really pissing me off. Like, just like reprimanded him. I'm like, go sit down over there.
Yeah.
Like, just like, dude, it's not how we're going to do it. Yeah. I was like, and if you, I just like, the closer I get to 40, the less, now I'm just like, oh no, get out. Yeah. I'm not going to roll with you. Like, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to like try and fuck me up where I can't do my job.
Well, you've got two choices, right? Either you let them jack you up, which you can't do, or you jack them up, which you can't do.
It's not no desirable mode there.
An adult, right? Like, I value every student I have. Even, if I've got a student that I don't particularly, like personally, well, I still value them, right? I still value they pay me money, they give me their time. I value that. So I don't want to rough anybody up, but especially not like a teenager, you know, because they're not my client. You're right. They're not my customer. Their parent is. Well, they go home all roughed up because coach roughed them up. That's not going to go over well.
Well, exactly, man. So it's just like, it's a weird deal. It's like, nobody wants me to go hard with them.
Right. They just want to go hard with you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's like, you don't do that because it's not going to be a smart business decision. Like, you're going to run off. And I came up in a time, and you did too, I'm sure. It's like the infancy of all of this in Arkansas, and like how much it's changed over the last decade. But like, dude, the total opposite of how we're talking for the first 10 years. It's just like, oh yeah, let's fucking kick your ass, drag him out the back door when we're done.
Oh my God.
I actually told somebody that one time. It was like a smart mouth dude, trained at the gym down the street, and they're like always fucking with us, always talking shit on the internet. And this dude is like always trying to come in and spar with us. Mm-hmm. And we had beat his ass one other time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but he came back in one time, and Cora just circumnavigated, cut it off. It's like, yeah, you're not fucking. You sign up. You've already been here. Like, you want to train here? Get a membership. Well, I train down the street. And it's like, okay, so go train there. Like, what do you want from us? You know, like, your coach has like openly talked shit about us, and you're all about that, dude. So just not going to be a good arrangement. And like, I'm not anti-cross training now, but like, that's the example, like that's the exception.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to train with anybody that this one dude who's attacked us for a decade. You know, he's attacked us just recently. Two things came up, and I'm just like, and this, I'm talking about something like 10 years ago, but the last time he came in was the first Forza location. We just hit our 10-year anniversary, so it would have been, he'd come in a couple other times, splitting at the karate place. And I was just like, dude, if you ever come back here again. And this was, okay, so it's the first location when Cora cut him off, and then they came in another location. I don't even know if they knew it was still us. Maybe they did, I don't know. But we'd moved, and we didn't have our name on the sign outside. It just said martial arts. Mm-hmm. He showed up, and I'm just like, I see him. I'm just like, motherfucker, I fucking hate this guy, you know, like coming in here again. And I was just like, dude, you remember what happened the other time? I was like, if you ever come back here again, we're going to fuck you up, and I will throw you out the back door, and that's where you will fucking wake up. Like, but dude, that was 10 years ago, you know, 8 years ago or something. But like, how much has changed since then? I'm just like, now I'm like, dude, I don't even have the energy for that. Like, I could have this like blue belt beat you up. I might do that. Yeah. Like, I might just have the Mad Enforcer beat you up.
Yeah.
It's weird to go too. Like, you age. Like, I was the Mad Enforcer.
Yeah.
Like, Randy, this one of our black belts, is reminding me. He's like, dude, when you were competing, he goes, I'd have competition coming out. I'd start Shark Tanking myself. I was like, start with the white belts and then go all the way up to the highest rank, and I would submit everybody. Mm-hmm. And I still was not getting the best results in tournaments, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, in here, it's like, it's been rough because I can't really do that anymore. Yeah. And I did it on Monday because the city was fucking with me. I was pissed about it, and now my hip hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I did. I smashed everybody in class. It's like, we're rolling the whole class. And I just like, everybody. Nobody got really anything on me. Controlled everybody. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, my hip.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, I'm sure the guy weighed 260, 270. Roll with this guy, butterfly sweeping. So I feel so cool. Afterwards, I'm like, that was stupid. I got off so light. Like, I didn't even hurt afterwards, right? It was just like, I'm so lucky that he didn't, like, wishbone me or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I said, my training partner, Eric, is my assistant. He's my main man, my main guy. Great guy. Teaches my intro lessons.
Intro lessons are the way to go, dude. Like, that's the reason we have as much success as we do around here. And we're trying to do them more with adults.
Yeah.
But with the youth and teens, all of them do it.
Yeah.
And we're doing that more with adults. It's just, the staffing to do it, because we do several intros a week with kids.
Yeah.
So then it's like, you try and stack 3 or 4 adults in there, it starts getting full up quick. But that was the biggest difference on retaining more members. when we started those intro lessons, everything changed. I mean,
Yeah, we do intro, and I only, you know, like I do intros on Mondays. Can't start this Monday. That's cool. Next Monday.
mm-hmm.
You know,
We do a lot of times
it creates
Fridays.
a little like, ooh, I better, and I'll tell them like, if you want to do it, that's cool, but you might want to pay. You might want to pay and hold your spot, because sometimes we have one intro, sometimes we have 4 intros, and we will only do 4 intros on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing more. It's too hard to do, right? You got 4 new students, kids or adults. It's too hard to do more than 4 people at a time. So
So
we
you
get
do
a
a
lot
group
more.
of like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Just
I'll
stack
do,
'em.
I'll
That's
do,
good.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
We thought about
one
doing that.
instructor. Eric's over there. He'll give the intro lesson, and it's quick. A few techniques. Dojo etiquette is one of the main things. Even with the adults, Eric is real forthright with them. That's yes sir or no sir in here. We bow in, we bow out. If that's not your jam, that your move is right there. That's the door, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, too, like
and
I
it builds
think
it builds a culture. You know what I mean?
Culture's
of people
everything.
exactly. Of people who want to be there and want to be cool and don't want to hurt anybody. And if you want to bump chests or whatever, have a sword fight with somebody, well, man, Spike 22 is right down the road. Mike Ward will mop you up. Have fun.
I got a guy that trained there for a while, and he may still go. I think he still cross trains over there, but he's been coming in here. Real good dude.
What's his name?
Dustin.
Dustin. Yeah, I know him. I know him. Yeah.
What is his last name?
I've hung out with him at the vault. I've sat down there and chatted him up.
Cool dude. He
super cool guy.
He always has his rash guard like hikes up, and then his belly hangs out, and he's got a very hairy belly. And I'm all the time like in my mind. Have you seen that SNL where Will Ferrell? It's like come to work however you want, Patriotic Day. And he's wearing like a Speedo, American flag Speedo, and like a belly shirt.
Yeah.
And it's like hanging out. Or Starsky and Hutch, where he's like, show me your belly. No brown sugar. But like this dude's always got his belly button hanging out, and it's like this hair. And I'm like, you fucking Will Ferrell right now, dude. Look at yourself. But he's a real nice guy.
Yeah, he talks about training with Mike and training with you.
Yeah.
And he's super cool guy.
I was surprised at how good he was, right? Like, so he came in, he only done some no-gi and MMA over there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I rolled with him. Like, the first time I met him, I was, like, had ducked in after getting off the college. I was still working at college. I had, like, a hellacious week, and, like, nobody showed up for open mat, and he was there. And I knew he'd been coming in, but I don't usually come to open mats on Fridays. I'm working at the college. And I got off early or something. I was in here. I was like, oh, I'll roll with you, dude. I rolled with him for, like, 20 or 30 minutes without stopping, and, like, just had fun, and like I don't even think he knew I owned the gym.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just hadn't met him yet. And then like we were talking, and then somebody's like, yeah, Brian's a judo black belt. And he's like, oh, he's judo. I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Just fucking keep coming. You're going to earn black belts. Like I was saying about that the other day. It's like the super foot black belt. Like I judo before jiu-jitsu. But you just keep training martial arts. That stuff definitely falls into place. But I can't remember. I think I gave him 3 tips on his white belt a while back, 3 or 4, because I was just like, dude, you are good. Like I hate seeing, because of the politics of rank in jiu-jitsu, where somebody will train somewhere, and I don't think they do gi over there at Spike 22. They might. I think they do just no gi.
Can't remember.
But like a lot of times you'll have somebody that, like for example, I had a guy, he trained at 2 different places, just out of state, trained there, and he'd wrestled in high school too. His kids are training with us here. Then he had trained at this other place when they moved to Arkansas, and then he's trained with us. And it's like, the dude had like high school wrestling and like almost 4 years of jiu-jitsu. Was really good.
Yeah, he's a terror.
And he's like a 1-tip white belt or something, because he had moved around. It's like you get to the school, and it's like I could verify his training. Like you look on his social media and you see like, oh, he's just training back in like 2017, like, and it's just like, it should have been a blue belt. He should have been a blue belt when he got here.
Yeah.
And it's like he's underranked, and it's like I hate seeing stuff like that. And it's like, well, hey, if you're like, here's the recognition. I don't just hand it out like haphazardly. But it's like, if that's the way I view it. It's like I should be looking at you being like, man, well, fuck, why is this guy not a 4-tip white belt? Like, why doesn't he have any tips on his white belt? Or why is he not a blue belt?
Right.
And like when I'm asking those questions repetitively, or people in the gym start asking, like, that guy's really good. Like, oh wow, yeah, he's definitely not a white belt, you know, or whatever it is. I try and set that stuff straight, because I hate that it's politicized. Like, oh, well, you trained somewhere else before you came here, so you're gonna have to stay here an extra long time before I recognize you. And then it's like you move on to that third gym, and it's like, well, this dude's been living here for like 5 years, but he moved around a lot before that and didn't get his recognition. So it's like, I get that a little bit, but I'm like, man, it's like, oh, you're a martial artist. You've trained several years. You deserve some recognition. Like, I didn't put in an astronomical amount of time with Bill before I did with Dring. But, and now I have. Now I put enough time in with Bill in person where it's like, oh yeah, I'm glad. Dude probably sees me as one of his black belts. That's versus like the whole first beginning that several times I trained with him, he doesn't know who I am.
Right.
Now he knows Cora and I did a seminar here, which I filmed the seminar. It's on and I just noticed yesterday I had like almost 1,000 views. I was like, fuck yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, it is. It's open and available. He did a kids seminar, and I was so surprised at how good it was. Like, and he's 76. And just how good he was with the kids, man. Yeah. Like, it was one of the best kids seminars I've ever been to.
That's one thing. I know you seem to have a lot of classes that you let other people handle. I haven't got, number one, I haven't got to that point yet. I haven't got to the point where I have enough. Mainly, I just don't have enough people that I would trust to do it, right? Like Eric. I would trust Eric to teach a class. He doesn't have time. But I don't have anybody else at this point that I would trust
that was
to teach
us
a class.
At one point, dude.
And kids in particular, like, you got to be really good with kids. I'm really good with kids, and not everybody
Cora is. It's what is weird is I'm almost like, in a way, sort of jealous about it. Like, Cora is super good with all kids. 3 to 4 year olds, 5 to 7 year olds, 8 to 12 year olds, teens. Like, she's good. It doesn't matter. All sorts of kids she's going to be really good at. I'm good with ages 8 and up.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's like a fly in my light here. Do you hear it flying around?
No.
Damn, those flies are bothering us while we're training too. Like, look right there in my light. Like a bug flying around in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like in Arkansas, man. Anyway.
I can't wait for it to cool off.
Dude, what a weird little heat wave we had. But before I got distracted, what was I saying? Damn.
Cora.
Kids. Oh, yeah, kids.
Good with kids.
So, like, I can teach 8 to 12-year-olds really well. Like, they command their attention. Like, I work with a group of them every week. Then teams. Same thing. Like, really get along well with the teens. Like, I feel like I do a good job. Like, they pay attention. They get better. Like, it's rewarding for me. I don't hate doing it. But, fuck, I hate teaching 5 to 7-year-olds, bro. And I will not teach 3 to 4-year-olds. I was teaching a section of 5 to 7s when I quit the college. Like, right before we started some new classes to kind of supplement. And, well, Cora taught that class the other day. And I was just, like, over on the other side of the mat watching her. And I'm just like, how's she do it?
It's brilliant. Huh?
Like, they were all just like sitting there, and she's like doing a stretch with them, and they're doing a stretch. Yeah. They're not rolling around. Like, and she had, I think, 13 5 to 7-year-olds.
Wow.
And they were all being quiet and doing what she was talking to them.
I'm really good with them, and I couldn't. She's better than I, because I know. 5 to 7. I had a 5 to 7. I still do. I teach 5 to 7-year-olds, but I teach them with my 8 to 12-year-olds. I just have a bunch more coaches on the floor. Back when it was just me, I had 5 to 7-year-olds by themselves, and like about 10 was as many as I wanted.
Well, the assistants is where it's at. It's good if you have assistants like that.
Yeah, if you have when I have an assistant to come over here with these 1 or 2 kids and be like, hey, pay attention. If you don't, man, you can lose them so fast. There's a big learning curve. with it.
Yeah.
But now I folded them into the 8 to 12-year-old group, and I have them. I don't teach 5 to 7-year-olds chokes, and I don't let them
Well, for a
punch
long time, the
each other or
Ezekiel
even punch at each other.
was like that one I shown you could pendulum sweep with.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not anymore in AGF, but forever that was illegal for kids because you'd be like have an arm on their spinal cord.
Wow.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
teach
it's definitely
them because they're sociopaths. Legitimately.
Yeah.
If you teach a kid, if you put a kid in the position of an arm bar and you say, okay, now lift your hips up until he taps, they will break that kid's arm and giggle their ass off while they do it. They could not care less. The other kid can scream and cry, and they could not care less. I don't teach them. I'll let them do joint locks on me, or if I have another coach smaller than me, like I've had a couple of female coaches.
Those armbar dummies are good for that too.
Yes.
We don't have them anymore because
I
they
don't
tear
have
up.
Yeah,
I've torn up like 3 of them. I'm like, I'm not.
I don't have a place to store it. Number one,
that's a hassle too.
And there's not very good quality. But I'll let them do that. I don't teach them chokes literally at all.
Well, we're for 5 to 7s. I'm trying to think. We usually will do like whatever the 8 to 12-year-olds are doing. They're usually doing 3 or 4 submissions, right? Like guillotines and kimuras or something like that. But we'll teach them like one of whatever the submissions is going on in the big person class. But it is typically joint locks. We might show them a rear naked choke, but I don't know if we do for 5 to 7s or not. I don't really teach them.
Man, I'm afraid of the consequences of them putting it on little brother or little sister or something while mom ain't looking. And I don't want to be the guy that taught that to them. You know, I'm just too scared of it. Because really they are too young to understand the consequences of doing it. So I just and then 3 and 4 years, I don't even know what I would teach them.
We didn't. I wish we would have talked about the rear naked choke while we were training. So I learned some new shit about the rear naked choke recently from this Daniel O'Brien guy.
Yeah.
So imagine I was taking your back, like, you know, like a sit-up style back take or whatever, and I wrapped around your neck like this. He will never turn his shoulders back this way. Like, let's say I'm going to lock up the rear naked. He doesn't do that.
Okay.
He goes across your neck, and then he goes. And it, because do this when you get back at the gym, or we can do it after we get done with the podcast. If you turn back, it loosens everything. Like, so if I go across your throat and my shoulders are here and I go, there's this little instance before I get everything in where it loosens up when you turn your chest back to center. So he just stays over here and he's like, oh yeah, you know, you don't want to get scratching the eye and shit. I'm looking back off over this way, so I don't have to worry about it. Like, so he'll wrap you and his eyes are back off over here.
Oh, that's really interesting.
But then another thing, so this is Henry Akins too. I mentioned that Hickson guy I'm going to go train with Oklahoma. Like, I was always doing it like elbows in and like chop your head off. You know, like, okay, you can press this around your neck and push your neck forward into it and just, you know, bring everything in tight. You don't want your elbows out.
Yeah.
And Henry's talking to Bernardo Fari about this. It's like a video of him doing it on YouTube. And he's like going over it. And he's like, yeah, you know, Bernardo's like, yeah, the 2 ways you're talking about. He's like, that's the ways that I teach my students and always did in tournaments. And Henry's like, yeah, it's so crazy because when I started training with other people, I didn't know that you guys did the rear naked choke these other ways. So I just do it this way, which was not the way Bernardo was talking about.
Yeah.
But what Henry was doing, and Daniel was doing this in a sense, is he doesn't go. It was. He shrugged everything up. Shrugged like.
Yeah.
Like that.
Here.
Yeah, but then what Daniel was doing that was interesting is he was doing that and then the chest thing, but he was bringing his knees up to his chest. So like he would have that, he'd have this, and he's got hooks, and he like brings his knees up towards his chest. You know, you're laying on him, but it's like everybody wants to like hammer their hooks in, press the hooks in, and he was like bringing his knees up. He's doing the same thing on the armbar. Was not pinching his knees on the armbar, was bringing his knees in, and that was engaging his pelvic floor on the elbow.
Yeah.
just, man, tons of stuff. And this dude's like 33. But he's had success, ADCC, done tons of IBJJS. See, he's the guy that, you may remember this. He entered this tournament with all these black belts, no gi, blindfolded.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Let's see it. We'll wrap. I'll pull this up and then we can wrap it up. And I gotta go home and do some. I'm making this patio for Cora.
Yeah.
And it's kind of on a slope, so I got to do all this excavating dirt. And let's see here.
I've got a way of doing the rear naked choke in MMA gloves.
Nice.
That's way easier.
Blindfold. Let's see. Blind Master Daniel O'Brien wins BJJ matches blindfolded. 26,000 views 5 years ago. He hit a really high-level armbar, ball and chain in a tournament. Brandon McCatherine, who's an Eddie Bravo guy.
I know that.
Yeah, so Brandon taught a seminar here, and they lived like 25 miles apart in Alabama. So Daniel is this guy over here. BMAC is filming this.
Okay.
Look, he has the blindfold on. He's filming it from the stands. Right? Like, that is wild to think about. So there's a D1 wrestler. There is a world champion. There's a pan champ. All of these guys. He talked about this on my podcast.
It's bizarre how he's standing.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up like that. I wonder why he's doing it like that. Is it just because he's blindfolded? Or
No, his posture.
He just likes to have his posture like that?
Yeah, yeah. Did you say he just threw that dude off?
Yeah.
Like, he's so reactive. And it's so counterintuitive, the things that he says to do. He's karate black belt, too.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. But there's other matches of this or other clips of this.
His posture's really interesting. I've never seen anybody
I know
like that. Now BMAC's extremely stiff with his posture because of his he had a neck problem.
Well, and too interesting about BMAC is, like, one of his hands does not work.
Really?
Like, if you notice him, he's always making a fist with it. And, like, it doesn't like
I didn't even know
when
that.
and I do my Darces this way now. With do like this Darces and rear naked chokes. If you make fist versus here, it fucking hurts more.
I see. That's what I was gonna say in the glove. I go here, and then I punch him in the back of the neck and knock it over.
Yes, I do the fist behind. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just punch him in the back of the neck and set it through.
Man, I can't remember. There's some other footage of this. It might be on his website, but where he's doing the blindfolded. But he talked all about it on the podcast. It was a really cool story because, I mean, he was just like, at the rules meeting, he was like, if anybody has a problem with this, I won't do it. Mm-hmm. He's like, we've been training this way for several months, and I want to see if it works. And everybody was like, oh, we have no problem. Like, you can do it.
Yeah,
like,
we're going to wipe the floor with you, so it's no big deal.
But then there was apparently this one guy who's like a world champion that wasn't at the rules meeting. Mm-hmm. And he threw a bitch fit about it. Just like, rah, 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 rah. And then after this match, Tom DeBlass attacked the fuck out of Daniel O'Brien on the internet, like in the comments, like, oh, you egotistical prick, like, that's so disrespectful. It's interesting how this draws some ire from different people, but like,
I wouldn't have thought that Tom DeBlass would have that. I mean, he's kind of a roughneck guy. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, he's American, right?
Yeah.
So
I follow him. I like him. I like his social media stuff, but like, he is confrontational.
Yeah.
Like, he is always, like, every day he will be bitching and talking shit about someone on the internet. He's very inspirational, but I mean, I follow him every day. I like his statuses every day. Like, I've got some of his jiu-jitsu instructionals. He's very articulate. He's on the school board. Like, he is the ranking instructor of the NYPD as of last week. Right?
Good. Yeah.
So, like, but I respect the dude, but like, he does have a little bit of a disposition, and like, I kind of get it knowing some things about him. Like, he's very open about talking about, like, his alcoholic dad and some that's just passed away, about, you know, some things
kind of naturally. I mean, I'm like, I took a personality test, Brian.
Are you an Enneagram 5?
I rank what was it, like the top, I rank something like in the top 5% or something like that in disagreeableness.
Have you ever had an IQ test?
No.
That's the interesting thing with me. I'm kind of reluctant to take one. My therapist is like, yeah, you ever want to take one, let me know. Because I would love to give you one. And because here's the thing, like, she suspects I fall within this certain category.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because she's fascinated by me because she's like, how are you doing all this different stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I just like this stuff. Like, the guitars and the podcasts and the history and the gym and all of the stuff I'm into. And the fact that for 4 years I was doing all of it at the same time.
Yeah.
And so she's like, only people with certain IQs do stuff like that. And she's like, and people that fall within this range, which is where I think you are, you know, like, I think she was saying like 140 to 142. Like, she was reading me off all of these things within that little range. And she's like, does that sound familiar to you? And I was like, but then too, she's like, you can become too self-aware about this stuff. Also, she's like, there's a side of it where, like, if you do the IQ test and this is true and you believe it, where you might behave differently, or it's like the awareness could be good, but you could also succumb to it, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, I'm not a big, you know, I've known a few people who have taken, you know, official IQ tests or whatever and scored very highly on them. And
I don't think that's a good thing, is where I was going with that.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying is like, number one, they think they're pretty neat, you know, because they scored high on an IQ test. And the other thing about it is like, y'all are stupid. You know,
dude,
like,
that is the correlation.
Y'all are kind of dumb, though.
The people with the higher IQs, like, struggling the most.
It's probably like, when I say that, I mean like what you classically think of as common sense, right? They're just they just seem very absent-minded about kind of just regular old everyday stuff. Like, okay, you're really, really smart. Why have you hit like 6 curbs with your car? How you keep doing that? That's why are you doing that? You know,
texting and driving for me, man. It's a real, here I am talking about not breaking the law in my car, but you know, but no, that I do get exactly what you're saying, and like people, Rogan's talking about this on one of his episodes recently, like people that are spectrumy, like they're, you know, whatever their IQ is, but like, or like, I just think like kids, little boys. Fuck, I mean, I kind of look back and I'm like, oh, damn, like I was homeschooled. I was drinking too much Dr. Thunder and eating too many raviolis and ramen. But at the same time, I was running through a fucking field at my grandma's house and playing in strip pits and fishing and hunting and like living a very, but like that, like ADD, right? It's like, or somebody that's on the spectrum, it's like if you can put that person in the environment to succeed, and that I think is never in a desk for 8 hours with PE 2 times a week now. Like, dude, shit, I just found this out the other day, like some of the kids are talking about, but like when I was a kid, PE was every day.
Yeah.
Every day for an hour, and you had to take it. There was no way around it. There was always some excuses. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, no, there was no excuses. Like your doctor, your mom.
You wouldn't get
cares
if
about
you didn't bring
emotions.
your clothes to dress out for PE. You wouldn't get points.
Yeah.
Right. So people would.
You had to bring different shoes or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, just real interesting how like now, I think it's 2 or 3 times a week, like every other day, and then they do music on one day. But it's like, cut these things out that would be truly beneficial to your day that you should be doing every day to mitigate and offset the fact you're in a desk and not running through a field.
Right.
And but these people that are afflicted with, you know, attention deficit or whatever, if you can just get them in a place where they can focus on something that they truly enjoy, like audio engineering or whatever.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And like, you know, I've been pretty transparent. I started, you know, struggling with depression, and anxiety and things like that when I was a teenager, and pretty early on in life, in adulthood, found martial arts, and there was a real clear pattern. When I'm doing martial arts and working out, staying active, I don't have that much problem with depression. When I first moved from Waldron to Van Buren, there for a few years, I didn't really train. I didn't train very much. I went like a couple of years without training or exercising. I was on antidepressants for like a stretch of 3 or 4 years there, before I got active again and got myself off of them. And we're just, you know, the problem with depression is it makes you not want to do all the things that you're supposed to do. Right. That's the big problem with it. But,
Well, yeah, it did, and I've just from being, I think, overstimulated. I never had any issues with anxiety until I got briefly addicted to Xanax. Right? Like I was taking some Xanax initially to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like this week I've not been sleeping worth a shit. Like I'm surprised because my sleep last night was good, but I took 2 melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
I hate having to take melatonin. But like my back was jacked up all week, was not sleeping good, and I usually don't do well in conversation if I don't sleep good. Like
Yeah.
I will forget all the time what point I was trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's just I started taking it. It's like, oh yeah, I'll take these, and then like next thing you know, I was taking like 2 bars a day, right? But I was getting tons of shit done, bro. Like I was working this full time college job, like coming in at the gym, trained, like yeah, everything was good. But dude, once I started like queuing in on those things fucking with me, I kicked him cold turkey and then had anxiety after that. Like, what is a withdrawal symptom, whatever. Kind of got over that, but then I started having like these weird ass like nocturnal panic attacks. Like it's not like I had night terrors when I was a kid, but I would just wake up. It happened to me the other night. I will wake up totally drenched in heart racing, shivering, but hot, and like I was talking to Corey about the other day and like googling and just different things, and like one of the things at the bottom is like feeling of impending doom, and that's what you feel like when you're having like I've known people that had anxiety and have dealt with it, and have seen people have panic attacks, and like if you've never had one, it's real hard to understand what that person like. What do you?
What, like, just calm down.
Yeah. Like I remember like the first time I saw Corey have one, like I didn't even know what was going on. Like I was like, are you okay? Like yeah. And then just over time you realize what is going on, and then like fuck. But there is nothing until you've had anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was like I'm very superstitious that shit that I was putting in my body, the Xanax, which is for anxiety, introduced anxiety into my body.
And and it's pretty easy to believe, right, that pharmaceutical companies created a drug.
This happened to Jordan Peterson, by the way. The same thing with Xanax. Yeah. Like the same things he talks about experiencing after he stopped taking them, I had that.
Yeah, it's not hard to believe, right, that a pharmaceutical company would make a drug that introduces the exact problem. Right? Like, man, I don't know. I think I'm feeling a little bit anxious. Oh, is that right? Well, here's this drug. Now, when you stop taking it, you have anxiety. So, of course, you have to keep taking it. You can't come off of it.
Several people. I just talked to somebody yesterday, and they were like, they're afraid of flying, so they will take one when they fly. But then they're like, oh, I hate it because I feel so bad after I take it. Like, it makes me irritable. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, it does. Like, you get real irritable after you take it like, that next day. And but she was saying like she'd taken some to sleep once upon a time. I was like, yeah, I got addicted to them. Like, but I've heard several people say, yeah, I'll just take those, it helps me sleep, and like that is literally because at that point, that is right when I started getting up at 4 a.m. or right before probably. When I started getting up at 4 a.m., it regulated everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was never awake past 10 p.m. And I would wake up, and then I could go to the fitness center and then have enough time, shower, do everything I wanted to do, and then go teach my 8 a.m. class, be there for a few hours, come back. So that was kind of until I started getting up at 4, man, I wasn't exercising like I should, and just everything wasn't balanced out. And then, like, I was kind of trying to find that balance and wasn't sleeping. Once I started getting up at 4, that's when my sleep regulated for the most part. But, man, have you ever had melatonin?
Yeah.
I hate having to rely. I did too last night, and I woke up and was not super tired. I slept good, slept through the night, but I hate having to rely on anything to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I was having anxiety at night. I couldn't go to sleep, and I would wake up and couldn't go back to sleep. Not panic attacks, but just jitters. It was like I had restless leg syndrome in a way. Like I could not get my legs to be still. And I don't think I exactly had it, but that's what it was like. I was like I had to move my legs every once in a while. Like they would just get. It's almost like they were asleep. Or that weird aching you get when your legs are asleep, and to alleviate it, I would have to like jerk or move my legs. And man, I got to where I was getting up. I would literally get up 11 o'clock at night and go out and run sprints down the road to try to like shake off this weird nervous energy I had, and struggled with it for a long time until I started going to the gym on a regular basis. That's
man, that does mitigate. So like since I've been not at the college, I've been more consistent. Like it's literally not going to take from my day or time at all if I go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
And before, like, it's kind of like, I'm going to go a few times a week, and I'm definitely making it a part of my routine. But if I miss this day, like it's like life's fucking crazy right now. I've got to kind of pick and choose sometimes. But now it's just like I'm going so much. Like last week, I went 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
Right. But just like noticing how much better I felt in terms of my energy, alertness, mental acuity, everything's a little bit more honed in.
Yeah. If I get up and run to the gym first thing and get a workout in, like I don't, it's like a confidence in a way, really. Like I'm probably one of the baddest motherfuckers that ever lived.
Really, dude, I'll say when you get up at 4, that is even more because like.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, I'll be
leaving the gym and the sun's coming up. Like I'm a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, I finished one the other morning before 6 a.m. and it was a pretty good workout. Like, it may or may not. No, it wasn't a morning. There's one morning that I did a good workout and I rode a 5K. Like I got a good workout in and I rode a 5K, so I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" But then I was like, "There's one way. It's just weights." Like I did all the cables and pulleys, did a bunch of dumbbells, did some bench incline and decline incline bench with dumbbells. I hadn't been doing barbell on like chest and stuff anymore.
I never did it very much. I hit a nice little PR years ago. Without having ever really benched very much, and I've probably not barbell benched literally since then.
Man, there's a stint where I was barbell, like I'd started doing bench, incline, power clean, and squat again. But dude, now I'm just like, I just like dumbbells more. Even if I'm gonna do something like squat, I like the trap bar first, like squats and deadlifts and stuff. I got one of those like a trapezoidal or hexagonal type. But man, I just don't do a lot of barbell across the board. I really don't.
I don't really do very much heavy. Planet Fitness dumbbells only go up to 75.
Shit, I only do like the most I've done. I think 35 pounds. It's like I'll do sets with 35, 3 sets of 8 with like 25, 30, 35, or I'll do like a set of 20 with 35 or 30. Like that's usually what I'm doing, anywhere from 20 to 30 reps. Like I got to check out that channel you were talking about earlier. What was that again?
Smashworks.
Smashworks, WERX.
WERX, yeah. And it's just, like I said, a bunch of rehab stuff, and man, everything from shoulders to neck, plantar fasciitis, everything.
You ever read that book, Becoming a Supple Leopard?
No, but I've heard about it.
I got to get it. I just ordered 3 books the other day, and it's 3 jiu-jitsu books I didn't have, and I was like, why the fuck don't I have these? Like I got the Gracie Master text right here, but this was like an Elio and Hoyler book,
Hoyler.
Like he's one of the sons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, how do I not have this book? And then I was like looking, and there's like a Hoyler and Henzo book, and I got a Henzo book, but I was like, why don't I have this one?
Mm.
And then there was another one that I didn't have also, so I bought all three of them. I think it was just a Hoyler book.
Yeah. I tell every time I'm on Dwight's podcast, he quizzes me about some JKD book. I'm like, I am the worst JKD nerd. I own one Jeet Kune Do book.
Check this out.
It's The Straight Lead by Terry Tom.
I've got
it's the
that
only
one.
one I own.
I got 2 Terry Tom books. Let's see. There's these 2 JKD books I keep kind of waiting. These are the 3 I got.
Yeah.
See, that's in my queue. I've already got one of these, but if it gets super cheap, they don't print it anymore. Used is $81, but let's go down here. Julie Caesar with pencils in the back. I'm gonna get that same. You got all the Pearl Jam here on the pops, bro. You're seeing my playlist.
Man.
Yeah. This Indiana Jones hat. Everybody needs one of those. Okay. Okay. This is cheaper than it's been in a long time. A Guide to Martial Arts Training with Equipment by Dan Inosanto, used for $65. I've seen that be $600. Right? Wow. This Boss Rutan used Book of Combat 2, $89. Like, I'm literally watching these. Okay, look at this one. I've seen this one be like $800. $178.22 for the Filipino Martial Arts by Dan Inosanto. $69.36. If I ever catch these Boss Rutan ones around $50, I'll get them. But man, like martial arts books, I don't even fucking make those anymore.
No.
Like just kind of looking back, I'm going back. Like I got all Bill Wallace's books. But in terms of like everything's a BJJ Fanatics instructional video now.
Yeah.
These are like 3 of the only books that I did not own. You know, this one is $40. It's kind of expensive. That one is cheaper than $40, but this one I ended up paying like $9 for. Yeah.
Yeah. I never honestly back in the day, man, I didn't have the money. Didn't have the money to buy the books.
Or the instructionals.
Yeah. And I had Rodney, right, to train with him. Like if he was teaching anybody, he's teaching me.
Dude, until I was like 28, it was like that for me.
So
I was poor as fuck. I remember all I wanted was Greg Nelson's clinch. Like, and now I have it. Like I tell people all the time, I will show clips of that in class, like him just like murking people.
Yeah.
And like I'll show the one on YouTube. I'm like, guys, like that shit we just did was from this. I was like, I remember when I would just watch this clip. And there's a couple little clips of but now it's like 5 parts, and like I have it all memorized and notes and just like. But I remember when I bought it, it was $149, and I even at that time felt some guilt about spending $149 because it was like I hadn't like super made it, but it's out of college, like gym successful, and it's like feeling guilt about buying a resource to make me a better martial art. Yeah. But I was like poor as fuck all through college, could not afford to justify paying $150 for an instructional. And now, like, still, I'm like, this means something to me. Like, I went without, like what you're saying. It's like, I went without this as an adult for years.
Yeah.
And I give Cora shit all the time. I'm 5 years older than her, and I'm like, she just turned 30. I'm like, I was 30. I was still poor. Because it kind of was, dude. I mean, I got out of college at 28. Like, when I was about 30 is when the gym really started. We really started to hit the stride. And we have 450 members now. Like last winter was really good for us. We may hit 500 before the end of the year.
Man,
that's a loose goal. It'll be hard to do because it's winter, right? Yeah. We will hit 500 in 2023 without a doubt. It's just like getting the place for the people to be. Like, anyway,
having the physical space for.
Yeah. Well, I'll walk you in the back. I'll show you kind of what we're planning on. Like, so we want to add on, but fucking City Planning Commission. We got a new mayor coming in, and I'm going to try and talk to everybody that's going to be a mayor candidate and just be like, do you support this? Do you support me having to pay, $3,000 just so I can put down $10,000 of parking? I was like, because I paid the $10,000 of parking out of pocket, and that was fucking hard. Like literally wrote a check for $10,000 and got kind of sweaty, clammy when I was doing it. Like paid for that out of pocket, save that money up. And bought the parking. And it's like, now you're telling me I have to go pay an engineer $3,000 to make this piece of paper that has my parking on it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's the word, but it's like, no, you've put a ceiling. I'm like if we were, like, we're one of the most successful businesses in our industry in the state.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason I can just play your fucking game.
Yeah.
And nobody else in town owning a martial arts school could play that game.
No.
Not now. There's a guy that owns a building on Parkway, but he built it in like the early 90s when there was no regulation. Parkway wasn't big.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, well, dude, let's wrap it up, man. I'll show you the backyard here, see what you think. Because we did add a significant amount of. Because I remember us walking around. Yeah,
I remember walking around back there in the grass.
Yeah. Well, bro, I always awesome talking martial arts and everything.
Yeah.
Good time, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. Signing off, guys. Thanks.